The views do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the station. Hey, 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 it is a wonderful Friday here. Listen, we're on Talk Therapy Live. It is all the way live, as you would say.
That's right.
And I'm excited to be here today on this wonderful Friday. It is the what is it? Valentine Eve.
Yes. Happy
Right?
early Valentine's
Happy early
Day.
Valentine to you and to our listeners as well. It's sweetheart and all in love and all that good stuff. So I guess you have to go out and spend some money on me.
Really?
Yeah. What you talking about? Really?
Well,
We like gifts too. For sure.
Well, we're so used to demonstrating it, not just in February.
That is true.
We do that all year long.
All year
you know
long.
What I mean?
That
so
is
we
true.
Got to,
but make me feel special tomorrow. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I will.
Make me feel special.
I will.
Hey, listen, this is Talk Therapy Live. We are on WSAX on your 98.5 FM dial. This is your Gold Chip Foundation managing station. We are excited to be here today on Talk Therapy Live.
Oh, yes. And if you want to tune in and be a part of this live conversation, go to the Facebook page at Talk Therapy Live and join in on the conversation.
Talk Therapy Live, join in on the conversation.
Yes. Well, I am Kimberly B. Y'all know me, the owner of Healthy Emotes Counseling Services. I'm here with my wonderful co-host, the Honorable Bishop Marvin C. Bozeman.
Listen, how humble I am.
Yes.
Was that humble? I'm just kidding. I don't even have to do it. Look at God.
Yes.
Look at the Lord.
Listen here. What the Bible say? Let another man.
Another man praise you.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
But I do appreciate you. You are a wonderful co-host.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yes. So we always have hot topics for you guys, but I do want to, if you have certain topics or whatever you want us to cover, just let us know. Put it in the chat. We'll make sure that we cover it. But this month, is the month of love.
It's the month of love.
So we want to talk about relationships.
It's the month of love.
My Lord, today.
Yeah.
So today's topic is what?
Communication.
That
sounds like a question.
I know.
Communication?
It's communication or control.
Yeah, well, yeah. Wow.
That's powerful right there, right?
It is.
Communication or control, because we realize that we are always communicating.
Yeah, and always controlling. Some are communicating and some are controlling. In between it, called manipulation.
We're going to get into all of that today, so that we can discover really our relationship styles, because sometimes when we've been operating like this for so long, we are not aware of our own behaviors, but then someone else can identify and say, oh, okay, that's what type of relationship that I'm in.
Yeah, you're trying to control me. That ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
But I like that. How you kind of just set it up as far as your relationship style.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I never would have thought about that. But
everyone has a style.
Didn't know that.
Everyone has a style. And you know me, because I love inner child work. We know everything goes back to your childhood. Okay. It goes back to that home that shaped us. All right?
Yeah.
Ida Trout is here. Good morning to you. So there are basically 3 to 4 different communication styles.
Okay.
Of course, we know about being assertive. And being assertive is the one that I usually try to get my clients to move into, to come in from the 2 different polarities and come in the middle of being assertive, because being assertive means that you're direct to the point, but you're also respectful.
Okay.
I love it, because there's a way to say whatever you want to say.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Trying to get that point across. But
yeah. Because a lot of times we have so much to say, but then we can't say it, or we don't want to say it because we don't want to ruffle anyone's feathers.
Yeah.
You know, but there is a way to say whatever you want to say, and that is being assertive.
Okay.
All right. So again, assertive is being, direct and also respectful.
Yeah.
Good morning, Stella is here. Y'all chime in and y'all let us know if throughout this session, what type of communication style that you believe that you have.
And that, let me just say, that's it's so good, because there are so many who are trying to articulate themselves, trying to express themselves, and they may be in the, talking to someone who is more assertive, and they always find themselves kind of backing down a little bit. You know, they can never get a word in edgewise.
And see, the thing is, Bishop, if you have someone who is assertive, they're going to cause you to feel safe. Okay. It's like a more safe environment where it's kind of like you're opening up space for me to be able to share too. That's the difference in being assertive. And then we can go ahead and talk about being aggressive.
Okay, gotcha. Different.
Yeah, there's a big difference, because being aggressive is you're dominant, you're hostile, you're loud.
It's your way. I'm gonna get my point across for sure.
Yeah,
most definitely.
And so the other person cannot get a word in edgewise,
right.
And it causes them to shut down. Like, why am I going to waste my energy
shut down
trying to jump in?
It's your show.
Yeah.
What I have to say is not important enough for you to take a breath.
You don't want to hear
listen.
Because they don't want to hear it. They really are not interested in what you have to say. They are interested in getting their point across. Right. So you're kind of like bullying another person, because you're so domineering and you're just, it's called control.
And it makes everything clear as mud.
You're right. Yes.
You know what I mean? Because nothing was accomplished at all.
Oh, what was accomplished is their control.
You throwing your weight around. You throwing your weight around.
Yes.
So hey.
Yeah. And it's just not a healthy environment. It's not a healthy relationship to be in one with someone who is aggressive like that.
Sure.
So we talked about being assertive, aggressive, and then the polar opposite of being aggressive is passive. That can really be just as bad as being aggressive.
I like it. I like how you're putting that, because if you're always in that passive state, you'll never get your needs met.
How can you?
I mean, you'll never get your needs met. Your dreams and visions will never come to pass. You're not assertive enough.
You're not assertive
you allow others just to dominate you.
Yes.
You can't be a good team player. That's not being a team player.
You don't have a voice.
Every person on the team has a position to play.
You can't even advocate for yourself.
You cannot. That's
true. On the inside, you're screaming.
That's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you really want to say something, but you're so passive that you want to avoid conflict.
That person inside is tied up and mouth is bound, gagged, and you can't say anything.
Yes. And then you have all this inner conflict, because after the conversation is over, you're like, I should have said something.
Oh, you have a better conversation after.
Yeah, with yourself.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
So you do have to learn. I think you have to take the steps and learn to learn how to be time for you to become passive, if we can use that term, or to sit back and listen and kind of govern things by that way. And then there's the time then you have to become assertive.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just to kind of get your point across, so that, hey, you hear me.
Right. And a part of being assertive is being a good listener.
Yeah.
You can't really be respectful if you're not listening to the other person.
Yeah.
And you're not just listening enough to just respond.
Yeah, because you're gathering information.
You are. You see their mouth moving, but your mind is constantly going, and you don't hear them.
Yeah, because you talk so much. I mean, I see your mouth moving, but I ain't heard nothing you said.
Yes. So our goal is not to be passive.
Right.
People will overlook you.
Yeah.
You know, you will have inner conflict
Yes.
when you're a passive person because you
Mhm.
know that you're being overlooked. You
Yeah.
know you're being taken advantage of. You know all this, but you feel like you don't have a voice.
Yeah.
And we all have a
We all
voice.
have a voice. Yeah.
You know, so we have to practice advocating for ourselves. And I
Mhm.
always say, Bishop, that we should always make sure when we're having conversations one with another,
Yeah.
that the atmosphere is conducive for
Yeah.
healthy conversation.
There are some conversations we don't want to have with certain people
Mm-hmm.
because we know their style
Mm-hmm.
of communication. So we would rather not have the conversation that needs to be had
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because if I say this, I know they're gonna, I
Right.
mean, you're not wrong,
Right. Exactly.
because you know their style of communication.
Yes. Yeah. And if you know that you normally dealing with someone who is more aggressive
Mhm.
and you want to avoid all that, there's
Yeah.
still ways to advocate
Yeah.
and there's still ways
Yeah.
to say things. And I often tell my clients too, if you feel like you can't really converse with this person,
Mhm.
write a letter.
Yeah.
Write a letter. They'll
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah.
They'll read it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You just have to be
Yeah.
prepared for the
Yeah.
reaction.
They'll read it in the beginning to they can see who it's from. And put
Hey.
that joke in there. They may come back later. But
Listen.
I ain't reading it. Right? I'm not reading it right now.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna throw it away. But I'm interested in what it is that they have to say.
But it's not a lack
Wonderful
of you
idea.
trying
Wonderful
to
idea.
communicate.
Wonderful idea.
Yeah.
Wonderful idea.
Because after a while, if you're in a relationship with someone and they don't want to hear you, then what are we doing?
That's
not love.
That's a foolish person. Especially if you're in a relationship because you're building something, right?
Yes.
So words have power. The Bible tells us words have power.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So those things that we say and how we say them has a weight on the response of someone else. You know what I mean? How it is that they take the information in, and regardless of your style, well, should you change up your style of communication if you're in a relationship with someone?
And I say yes.
You know what I mean? So, wasn't just I'm just saying.
All right. So there's a question. Can control sometimes disguise itself as help or concern? How do you tell the difference? Well, and we're going to definitely get into that, with our time together. But you listen.
I like that.
The thing is, how does this person make you feel?
Mm-hmm.
How do they make you feel?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're being heard, or do you feel like you was just managed?
Yeah. But I like the question here, though, because a person who believes that they're acting out of concern, but it appears to be controlling. You know what I mean? So it's like they really have to be taught how to manage their concern for situations, right? You can't just barge in. You can't just say everything. You have to wait it out and see what's the right time, what's the right way, or it may be time for me to sit back
and
be
person
quiet.
Will never know that unless one advocates for themselves. Because if a person makes you feel a certain way, yes, they're trying to help, but to you it's like, okay, I got this, I know what I'm doing, it's okay. Then that person should advocate and speak up for themselves, be like, thanks for your help, but I'm good, or whatever. You know what I mean? So again, it goes back to your visceral reaction. How does this person make you feel?
And it's how they communicate it. And the biggest thing that is pointed out to me is the communication style. You said that earlier, because if that's their style, that's who they've become. That's who they are.
Yes.
So for them to change up their style is going to be it's going to be a problem for them to change up their style. Not unless they're willing to do so.
Right.
If it's brought to their attention and they receive it in such a way, because you can let them know, hey, the way you communicated that to me, this is how it made me feel.
Absolutely.
Perhaps you can do it this way the next time if there's a whatever comes up. And in that moment, they may take offense to it, but I believe that they'll go back and think on it.
Because the
next time you'll notice,
yeah,
they will hesitate on giving their thought or information.
Because the thing that's going to create change is love.
Yeah.
And love is does not seek to hurt someone.
Yeah.
So if we're having a conversation and your loved one tells you, you know how you have caused them to feel, then love will help us to make those changes.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, we often talk about the ego.
Yeah. This is huge though, because you have to make sure you're not that sensitive too.
The ego.
You gotta make sure you're not that sensitive all the time. No one can say anything to you.
That's a whole nother problem. That's a whole nother problem there.
Real,
But you have to remember that relationships is how we relate to someone else.
Yeah. Because after a while, you do learn. I'm not. No. You want to? No. I'm gonna let them go right ahead and say and feel and do what they want. I'm gonna hold my thoughts back. I'm gonna let them be. Now, if they come to me,
right, yes,
it's a different story. But right now, no, I ain't saying nothing.
I remember,
they'll figure it out.
When we asked mom and dad when we were dating or whatever, how did they make it so long? And it was their relationship style.
Yeah.
They were able to talk about any and everything. I remember mom saying, don't sweep anything up under the carpet. And that's where I got that. If it's important enough to bother you, it's important enough to discuss.
For sure.
But again, you have to know who you have.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be an argument if I say A, B, C, D.
Most women like flat rugs in the house. They like the carpet to be just on the floor.
That's right.
Men, we gonna do some sweeping.
But what does Marva say? President Obama always does that with Trump.
What's that? Sweeps things under the rug? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, just expound a little more because I don't know. So we're talking about is it communication or is it control? So we really want to talk about the difference between healthy communication and emotional dominance, right? So the core goal is really understanding and being able to connect with one another. I may not like what you say, but I understand what you're saying.
The earlier you learn that, the better. It's okay if you learn it late in years, as long as you learn, right? It's never too late to learn how to communicate in a more effective way.
You should always be pliable.
You know what I mean? Always. But if you can learn that earlier in life, wow. I mean, you can have a conversation with anyone.
You have to get over yourself.
Yeah.
You have to get over yourself.
But most of us take on the style of communication from our parents, right?
Yeah.
It is usually that has been demonstrated before us for a long time, and we sort of kind of step into that role or step into that style.
Yeah.
This is how dad handled things. This is how I'm going to do. This is the way men handle things. This is the way that women handle things. You know what I mean?
It can be that our parents role model the behavior. It can also be from our experiences, because essentially, if you have a client or a person who is passive, then perhaps they had parents who were always hostile, or you had the alcoholic parents, and you feel like you had to walk around the house on eggshells, and you felt like you better not be seen nor heard.
And so it's the style that you've seen demonstrated, and especially within your culture. You know what I mean? Different cultures, the women are more, submissive and subservient to, to their husbands. You know what I mean? And it really is speak when spoken to. You know what I mean? So you kind of fit that role and dynamic, because this is how you are raised to be. Men were raised, my generation coming up, raised to be men of the house. There's certain things that you did because that was the role that fit.
Right.
There's something. When we played house, I never played the wife.
Yeah. Thank the Lord.
You understand?
Thank you.
I never played the wife.
My Lord.
I was a husband.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's funny when you play house, you wasn't a boyfriend.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you were either the husband or the wife, and you were the children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And even for like different cultures coming together, is understanding that particular culture and how they were raised, with their values and their belief systems and even their worldviews.
If you get two different cultures coming together and create a relationship, now communication is the most effective thing. because y'all did things totally different.
Yeah.
What we do now, we eat pig over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To y'all, I mean,
Right.
you know, I know it's just about those vast differences that have to be brought together in order to, you know what I mean? In order to make your relationship what you want it to be. So communicate, how are we going to do it for ourselves? Yeah.
And Marva says the high road, be the best. It's not always necessary to address some people who are trying to get the best of you.
Yes.
Yes. And what I know you laugh at me sometimes because sometimes, listen, we can have conversations, whatever, and what do I say? Some things I just don't respond to.
Yeah. But my one guy, he's we say God bless the dead. He says, you go low, I'll go low.
Right.
I can't remember his name, but he was on this stuff, man. I like that. Sometimes you got to take that approach.
I know, but sometimes we need to choose our battles.
That is
true.
We
need to choose our battles. Because at the end of the day, we're a team.
Yeah.
You know,
and it depends on who you are, because every person at some time or another will seem right in their own eyes.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think even with the communication, it's about learning.
Yes.
Because even though you may think you're right in this moment, leave room to learn.
Yes.
Because maybe you're not. Time will allow you to see how right or how wrong you've been.
And that's why sometimes you just need to dial back, take a step back.
Yeah.
Because it's not worth the effort and the energy right now. Because this person's mind, they're right.
Yeah.
In your mind, you're right.
Yeah.
So it becomes a battle. Yeah. You know, so healthy conversation and communication is not about one person winning.
And sometimes we talk so much, we don't have time to think about if we are right or wrong.
And that's
because
problematic.
we just like to, I'm gonna give you a comeback.
Because now we're functioning from our emotional mind.
And how often does that happen? Every day.
Yeah. We function from our emotional mind.
Yeah, you're not even thinking about, how should I verbalize this? No, I know they said this, now I have to say this.
But once you've done that and you see the destruction and how much it has caused damage and it has really hurt this other individual, we got our lessons learned. So we should not keep repeating those cycles.
Depends on who you are and what you're trying to do.
But what we want to create, Bishop, and we'll talk about that this month also, is longevity. Being in love for long spans of time.
Yeah. Now you're talking about relationships, so we're communicating and all that. So if we're talking about relationships, it's different. But just on the everyday surface of communication, you know what I mean? It's just sometimes you don't have that. You're not having that moment of, let me see if I'm going to hurt their feelings or not. You know what I mean? Sometimes what you say, you mean what you say,
and
you mean to be hurtful.
Well,
you want to hurt their feelings, right? So we're not talking about a love relationship. We're just talking about communication wise.
Yeah.
How communication is used, the power of words.
The power of words. Absolutely. It goes back to the intent, because we use words, we're strategic. We know what we're doing.
Exactly.
It's the intent in which we use the words. And there's a time for everything, because sometimes people need to be talked to in a strong way.
Oh, for sure, because you need to hear what I'm saying.
Yes, absolutely. There's a time for everything.
Yeah.
All right. Question on the floor.
Yes.
How does tone and timing affect whether a message feels supportive or manipulative? And for me, it goes back to who you have.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. You know who you have, and you know their history. You know what I mean? You all's history together. And I love discernment too, because sometimes people can say things with a smile on their face, but they really do mean that.
For sure.
You have to make sure that you're always in control of you.
Yeah.
Period. It's not about what they say, whatever. It's your reaction, because we teach people how to treat us by the way we respond to them. Am I going to feed into what they're doing, or am I going to have that Obama effect and remain cool, calm, and collective?
Yeah. I hear you. So you have the individual who is thinking about tone and the timing of the situation or conversation that needs to be had. You're taking into consideration the person who you want to communicate something to, and my presentation, how, because if I say it this way, they're gonna, that's a whole lot of energy and thought you're putting into just saying what you want to say.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
On account of you don't want to hurt, their feelings a little bit. Sometimes you're like, look here,
I'm really,
this is what I have to say.
I'm really proponent of allowing one to adult.
Hey,
just let them adult, because I don't have the time or energy to coddle you.
Yeah.
I know the intent of my heart is to relay a message to you and to correct behaviors.
Lord, that must have been my grandmother, because she would just tell you, listen now, I got something to tell you.
Right.
Now,
and you can
do what you want with it after I tell you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I know you might take it a certain kind of way when I tell you, but it is coming from love.
Exactly.
Coming from a place of love. You know what I mean? So
right. Yeah.
And but that's a lot of energy being in thought. And then you still come out on the short end of the stick because they still don't like what you're saying.
That's their problem. It's not your problem.
Got you.
Again, it goes back to allowing a person to adult, because when they leave that conversation, they'll go back and they'll rehearse it over in their mind.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
But we cannot
we
cannot carry that though. Because we know we weren't trying to be mean. Now if we were trying to be mean, that's something different. Then we have to come back and apologize.
Tone and timing is such a key component in communication, but truth is, there's never the right time and there's never the right tone.
Why do you say that?
Because people take things the way that they want to take them. And you can come with all humility and the right time you thought it out, you laid it out and all that, how sweet the presentation was going to be, and they still end up saying, thinking something that you never intended.
And all we can do is role model behavior.
Yeah.
We have to be the change that we want to see.
For sure.
For sure. Again.
Yeah. You be all right with, I did everything I could do.
Yes.
And you kind of handle it in that way.
Absolutely. Question on the floor.
Yes.
From Curbside Revival. Does over communicating ever cross into control? Why or why not? I guess it depends on what style of communicating is being used. But I do realize that sometimes when people over communicate, that could be coming from somewhere else.
Is over communication, does that mean that a person talks too much?
And probably oversharing and trying to explain themselves. Yeah. Because sometimes that could come from a place of also being a people pleaser too. Because I want you to understand what I'm saying. I want to make sure that you're going to like me when I get done telling you what I'm telling you. I want you to be all right with what I'm, because I really want you to understand, and I really want, you know what I mean? That could be coming from somewhere else.
Nervousness.
Again, it goes back to the childhood.
Yeah, being nervous about what it is that you are saying, or maybe trying to impress, as what you're just saying with, hey, I know a little something too, but then you don't step way out there now. You're like,
right,
I'm out here now.
Yeah, and again, it depends on what communication style that they're coming from, and what the context of the conversation is. But what I have found in my experience with counseling is that sometimes people, it's a lack of self-confidence because they can't just say what they want to say. They have to go all around the barnyard to get to it, to make sure that you're okay.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So really not, as the question is, does over communicating ever cross into control? Do you think it ever crosses into control, over communicating?
I wouldn't necessarily say control per se, other than them trying to, it's coming from a different place. You know what I mean? And again,
knowing the person.
Again, it goes back to the type of communication style that they're using. If they're over communicating and they're aggressive, then of course that is control. But if we're just having a casual conversation and I'm going on and on and on, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So
I'm looking at you, and I see all your mouth moving, your hands, gestures, and all that. But I'm like, man, I wonder what that piece of chicken tastes like over there on that plate. I done took a trip because went a little too far.
Right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? I heard you the first step. So it's about learning how to communicate, and the person who you're communicating to. Preachers, we do it all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know how, okay, by the expression or the looks or the way that the people communicate to us when we're preaching, when we should move on or when we should hang out
I'm gonna let you
in a
know.
conversation. You know what I'm saying? So it's about the response. It's about the response that you're getting
Mm-hmm.
and the breath that you need to take for the other person to come on with what it is that they need to say.
That is really a loaded question because it can lead into different avenues.
Yeah.
Because you
That's a
can.
good question, though.
It's like some people who, like their tone, they may have a low, soft tone.
Yeah.
It can be that can be controlling too, because now I'm dominating. People have to lean into me
Yeah.
when I talk. You know what I mean?
got
This can be
Yeah.
subconscious things going on. So
Yeah.
again, that's going to depend on the context.
Got you.
All right. Stella says action speaks volumes. Tone and timing has a lot to do with control on communication. I feel like people just be set in their ways and don't want to change and use it as an excuse and cause others to shut down and
Yeah.
not want to speak on things at all.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderfully said. It's true.
Yes, absolutely.
Because even though we're having this conversation now, you have to, we're talking about time and tone and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to put in, you take into context the age of the people that you're talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you might be set in your ways because you are a certain age. This is how granddaddy is. You understand?
Yeah.
Well, you know how granddaddy. Don't let granddaddy say or see.
But if you look at grandma,
Yeah.
she don't care because she's used to it.
She's used to it. Yeah.
Y'all know how he is. It's been like this forever. She's gotten used to that. You know what I mean? So it goes back to knowing who
That's
you
good.
have. But the main thing is moving and being assertive and being respectful.
And exactly, I like that because if you're thinking about the communication between age groups, if you look at how different age groups how they communicate with each other, from your 80s to your 50s to your 30s, their communication style. I think each generation communicates differently. Each relationship there are the foundational rules that we have when it comes to communicating, but the communication way, they're just different.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot to learn, a lot to grow from. As you get older, I would like to say that you learn how to communicate different, in a different way, because we've learned a little bit since we've been here.
Yeah. And you're right. Each
slamming
generation
doors and breaking stuff, communicating that way comes out to be a little expensive.
Yes. Yeah. We won't even go there. We won't go there. So again, we're talking about the difference in having a healthy communication versus emotional dominance. As I stated before, healthy communication is not about me winning. At all. It's about us winning, as a team. So, we have the mutual respect. Both voices matter. What you have to say matters to me.
Yeah, you learn that. So you could have demonstrated before you an unhealthy way of communication by way of your parents. And when you get into a relationship, you say, I will never communicate like that, ever.
And then you find yourself with,
ever.
Man, I sound like my mom. It's the home that shapes us.
It's the home that shapes us.
Yeah.
Or you just don't communicate.
And that is still communicating.
And then lets the other person
It's still
assume.
communicating because you're speaking volumes when you shut down. When you stonewall.
How come you ain't tell me when you were leaving the house? Well, you heard the door closed, didn't you? That's my way of communication.
Right.
You heard the engine,
Yes. So the key characteristics of a healthy communication is, of course, mutual respect, even when we disagree.
For sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to disagree. All right. That
Yeah.
as long as you're living, you're going to disagree, but we must have a mutual respect for one another and value. How do we show value to one another? And then have some type of emotional regulation. And I know none of this was taught when we were in school. Finances weren't really taught. Emotional regulation wasn't taught. This is things that we have to learn.
Yeah. Oh, we're learning.
Yeah, so feelings are expressed without exploding. So that means you're going to have to breathe.
Yeah.
You're going to have to breathe.
It's so crazy because I was watching the show the other day, and the person, they could be viewed as being somewhat angry. Those things have their place. You know what I mean? But I think it's how people say, well, I'm not angry, I'm passionate. You know what I mean? So it's like trying to, you're passionate. The other person is somewhat intimidated, like, whoa, what's about to happen? You know what I mean?
Yes,
so
because
again,
it's how do you make this other person feel?
Exactly.
Now you can be passionate about something, but are you going to let me talk at all?
Exactly. I got you. Yeah. Would you please breathe?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Hold your breath for like, at least 2 minutes.
I don't even want you to hold your breath. I need you to breathe so you can get oxygen to your brain so you can think a little more clearly. Okay.
Yes.
Get that oxygen to the brain and breathe. All right. So key characteristics: mutual respect, emotional regulation, clarity without control. And that's going to, you're going to have to step back from it and listen to what the other person is saying.
That mutual respect is so key. And I love it. Each time you say it, it's like really resonating within me. Mutual respect, because you're communicating for a reason, not just to get your point across or for you to be heard, but let me take a moment and hear what they have to say.
Yes, because why are they talking? They must have something to say.
Why are they taking time to listen to me?
Right. Yeah.
We're supposed to be in a conversation, but it is, if we don't, have that for each other and try to communicate, then it's an unhealthy space in place. Nothing's getting resolved.
Right.
I'll never know how you feel. But you look frustrated because I'm taking all the airspace and
you don't make it cause the other person to feel like they're safe enough to share.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's about creating that space and letting them know that they are in a safe environment. And I do want to hear, why do I want to hear what you have to say? Because I love you and I value you.
Yeah.
All right. So emotional dominance, Lord have mercy. The characteristics of emotional dominance.
I'm interested.
It is in intensity over insight.
Okay. So this is emotional dominance.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Big emotions are used to shut down the conversations. And I always say it's okay to honor your emotions because they come to us for a reason, but then we have to incorporate the other part of our mind, which is the more analytical, the more cool side of our mind.
So the big emotion part, I like that. What could that look like? What could the big emotions look like?
Ooh, frustration, anger, control. It can be
could it
hitting
be
walls. It could be
go.
Slamming doors.
There we go.
It can just be walking out in the middle of a conversation. And I let me say this because I feel like you better than anyone else do, and when you're getting to that point. So sometimes physically removing yourself is not a bad thing. But I feel like when the atmosphere is cool and calm, the two of you are getting along, we need to have these conversations. Like when I get upset, you need to give me space to leave.
Or could it be that I can give you space to slam a door, to throw a chair up against the wall?
Well, again,
you know what I mean? Because I know you're gonna do that. You'll never touch me. But
so we're talking about developing healthy communication styles.
For sure.
For
sure. That's what we're talking about. But if that's the room that person needs.
Okay.
Because I'm saying that's how some people, who you're dealing with is who you're dealing with. That's just who they are.
I know.
They get upset, they get frustrated, they get angry, and they slam a door or two.
But remember, we started out saying it's about how the other person cause you to feel.
Yeah.
As far as having that sense of control, because if you're
Right.
slamming things and you're going off and you're going on, that's a form of manipulation. Now I'm doing all this to get your attention. No, you're gonna hear me one way or another.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
is control. And
Yeah.
you have made me feel just awful.
Mhm.
I don't want to be in your. I don't even want to be around you now.
This is the moment we need. This is some good stuff. It's the good stuff because some people, their style.
So,
and you know them. You've been with them for a minute. I'm gonna have this conversation with JoJo, and I know he's gonna slam the door. You know, I know he's gonna pitch a fit. He's gonna do all that first.
Here's the thing.
And then we can really have a conversation. He may drive off.
Here's the thing.
I'm just saying. I'm just putting that in.
I get to choose who I want to be around and for how long. Now, I'm not in bondage to anybody.
Most definitely.
At all. You're only with a person because of your choice. You chose to be with this person. But if this person makes you feel less than, unimportant, belittled, and all that, you don't have to be around them.
Yeah.
So if you can't respect my boundaries.
That's true. All what you're saying is true, but I'm not even talking about that. So go ahead.
But I'm just saying, if you can't respect the boundaries, because I know that you often go off, and I'm asking
you know that before you talk to.
Yeah.
You know what they're going to do.
So again, do I want to be around it? Do I want to remain in a relationship with this person? Because they're not conducive for my mental health.
No, but y'all going to talk afterwards, is my point. Because they need to have that time to stop. They need to have that time to holler and scream and yell, and whether it's in the room by themselves.
We have to move towards emotional regulation. And the question is, when is it time to seek professional help for communication issues in a relationship? Exhibit A. Exhibit A.
Well, exhibit on. I'm just trying to say.
If you cannot conduct yourself
right, because if you don't want to deal with that, that's the time for y'all to go get some help in communication. But if you're going to say, hey, this is how this is how he does, he'll be all right in 10 minutes, and then we can really have a good conversation, that's cool. But if you don't want that, then y'all can go and see somebody, see if y'all can get John some help, because
love is going to bring about change.
For sure.
Now if I'm the type of person that don't mind all of that anger,
right,
I'm used to that, because that's where I'm come from. That's one thing.
He gonna be all right once he eat this meal. He gonna be fine,
right, exactly. But if it bothers you, that's the key.
Yeah, that's the key. If it bothers you, and we got there. It just took time to dig and throw the dirt over his shoulder and all that. But yeah, if you're used to it, if you don't mind dealing with it, and that person has to go through this little routine that they do whenever sensitive information is being brought to them, that's what they do. Y'all probably will come back later and talk about it and reach a good decision.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to deal with it, then you don't have to deal with it.
Advocate for yourself.
Or you can advocate for yourself and go get you some help or something like that.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes, absolutely. So again, we're talking about some of the characteristics of emotional dominance. And we talked about intensity over insight, those big old emotions that you use to manipulate people, right? And then fear-based influence, because a lot of times.
But see, you just said manipulation. That's a whole. It depends on why you communicate with me. Then you trying to manipulate me now. That ain't.
How does the person make you feel?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then sometimes we
I know what you're trying to do.
Right. I see you.
I see you. I know you want that dress. Yeah, I know you would want those earrings.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna come a different way. I ain't gonna be throwing
either
tantrums.
way, it's manipulation. Don't play with me.
Yeah. There's some good manipulation.
You're a mess.
And then we have fear-based influence, where one person just complies, because they want to keep the peace. They're just, that's the passive side.
That's the passive side.
You comply, whatever's going on, because you don't want to fear any type of punishment. You don't want them to be mad at you. You know what I mean? So that's just another key
But
or characteristic.
strong people do that too. They can become passive towards a person that makes them weak.
Do tell.
I mean, this is Valentine weekend and all that, but sometimes strong men, they just have such a sensitive spot for the woman who they are in love with, where she can pretty much ask for anything and get what it is that she wants, or a conversation that needs to be had. Hey, it's okay, because they're always considering the other person's feelings.
That's right.
Before.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
There is a question on the floor. You want to read it?
If I can't see it.
You can't see it? Where are your glasses at?
In the car.
All righty. Question: what strategies can couples use to ensure communication styles stay healthy and doesn't become controlling? That's a good, excellent question. And we've said the number one thing today is respect.
Yes.
Okay. Definitely respect each other. You don't always have to understand each other, and communicate. That was
the first word that came. Practice communicating.
Yeah. Effective communicating.
And then ask questions on why did you feel, when or there are some of those games that you will just spring out of nowhere. We could be eating dinner and you say, hey, here, I'm like, where did the deck of cards come from? You know what I mean? You asking me questions. I'm like, what are we supposed to be eating?
Yes, but I love it though.
But there are ways to strengthening your communication. And if it comes by way of a little card game that has questions on it and you answer it, it is to strengthen your communication with the person who you want to be with.
Right, exactly.
For sure.
And then both sides are willing to change.
Yeah.
Both sides are willing to change.
Yeah.
Again, it's not about one person winning.
Yeah.
It's about we win as a team. And sometimes if I have to, we have to really function in wisdom, knowing how to speak and when to speak. Because I have something to say doesn't mean that it's time to say it right now.
How to speak, when to speak, and when to speak up for yourself. Because if I need to be able to come to you and say, hey, I don't really like how you communicated that to me. This is how it made me feel. So I need to take into consideration, because really I meant no harm. Right. Yeah. However, it made you feel a certain kind of way. So now it's going to cause me to kind of grow or to think for a moment, well, how could I do that if it happens again? Address it in a different way or in a different manner.
That's right.
So it doesn't make that person feel uneasy.
That's right. And that's good, Bishop.
So you have to be willing to put the work in for the other person.
You have to. And make for sure when we're communicating, we're not starting the conversation off with you, because that's a blaming word.
Okay.
You already made them feel bad, like you, what is she getting ready to say now? Or what is he getting ready to say?
Yeah.
But go to that person using your I statements. I felt disrespected when we were talking the other day and you wouldn't let me speak, or you dominated the conversation. Always say how you feel. Talk about your emotions, because again, you're taking responsibility of your own emotions.
If you're a real man or real woman about the whole situation, when that is said to you, you're going to feel a certain way. And it's not to hurt you or to say, hey, like you almost killed me. But it's just like you're going to feel a certain way, because you never want to see them go through any type of hurt.
Yes.
At all.
That's love in action.
It's going to cause you to correct that.
That's right.
Real quick.
Yes.
Baby, I didn't mean to. Those were not my intention. Now you have to sit with, wow, I made her feel like this because I said whatever.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, and it's about putting the work in to become a better communicator.
Absolutely. So both sides.
I want you to hear me when I'm talking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we want to create that space for our loved ones.
Hear and heed. Depends on what's all in the conversation. Because I want to make it easy for you to say, oh, yeah, I'll make that compliment for you. I'll make that for you. It's no problem.
Okay, we're moving on. So we're still talking about different strategies. So both sides are really willing to change.
Yeah.
Again, we have to let go of the ego. right? Just let it go.
Yeah.
Get over yourself. We have to grow and we have to mature. Relationships are only for the mature, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
then both sides are willing to listen first. Listen.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and you
Yeah.
show that you're listening because you got the eye contact. You're not on your phone.
Yeah.
You're not watching TV while the other person's talking to you.
Mhm.
You're looking at them. You're
Yes.
nodding your head. You're saying,
Right.
okay.
All of that.
Right.
Because you never want that person to say, you know, I can never talk to you.
Right.
Every time I get ready to you don't want it for it to go that way.
That's right.
You don't want for it to go that way.
Right, exactly.
Because that's not good. If every time I want to talk, you got to use the restroom.
But then they wonder why they don't come and talk to them anymore. And they're
Exactly.
talking to their girlfriends or their guy friends more than they're talking to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you don't create a safe space for me
sure.
to talk to you.
Sure.
So, yeah, I'm going to shut down. I'm going to talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
All right. So, and another strategy is always supporting each other. What I have found oftentimes is that people in relationships compete.
Oh,
you know what I mean? They'll get mad at the other one. Like if one decides to go to school and the other one is still working, they'll like get envious or jealous, and they'll like try to bring them down. They're not supportive of the other person with their dreams and their visions.
What level of relationship would that person be on? I mean, because if you're married, look like we all going up.
Right.
Now, if we're not married, then maybe you have some room to feel that way, but you won't be.
But if you're
you will never get there.
But look,
to being married if you're acting like that.
If you're in my circle, I need your support.
You
I need you to help to catapult me
take it to new applicants
a little
now.
further. You know what I mean?
File 13
So if you're a girlfriend, a sister friend, whoever you are, if you're in my circle, we all need that support. And that encouragement. So there's no reason to feel intimidated because my light shine on me. Your light is not shining.
Yeah. Next day, when y'all see each other, I'm enrolled now at
and that's good. Yes. Because that's influence, right?
Yeah.
That's good influence.
Yes.
So in a relationship, supporting each other, what often happens is that we lose our own identities trying to fulfill someone else's.
Got you.
But we're individuals and we have our own dreams and aspirations.
Exactly. Support is so necessary, right?
Indeed.
Because after a while, when you go after yours, you're going to need that same support from someone else. I believe in that. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. And then both sides are open towards each other. It hurts when you see a loved one or your mate or whatever going through something and they don't let you in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, what's going on with you? But nothing.
Yeah.
And it's this wall that is there, but it hurts the other person. It's like, well, do you trust me with your heart?
Yeah. But who you're dealing with makes the difference. And if you know them. So your first answer will be nothing to the question.
Right.
You already know. And know they're gonna tell you in a minute. They're trying to get their words together on that. So it may be tomorrow when they say, well,
you just have to give them time.
You have to give them time, but don't take offense to the fact that you don't want to talk to me. No, you know who you're dealing with.
Yes.
So you're just right now, you setting them up. So y'all could, you're gonna talk tomorrow.
We should always come back
you understand?
to the table.
You're gonna talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
But today.
Yeah. And like you said, know who
what's
you have.
What's going on with you?
You don't want to push someone into a conversation.
Oh, nothing.
Yeah.
So you're gonna talk to them.
But in good and healthy relationships, we're both open towards one another.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's the time. It's the timing, how long you've been together so that you know each other. You know what I mean? As far as the communication part, you're going to know if we're going to talk today, tomorrow, next week, because you've been with them for some time.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So, we're going to have the conversation, but it'll probably be tomorrow.
Yeah. As long as you come back and you don't ignore me or push me away from you.
Yeah. See how my communication style is different from yours? We just said the same thing. You know what I mean? But women, you always have like a little extra touch to put on what we say. Our stuff is like to the point, clear.
Right. Yes.
However, you just know. You know.
Because I know who I'm dealing with.
Exactly.
And ditto, likewise.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the emotional dominance and having a healthy communication style. But one of the emotional dominant characteristics, and I don't like this one, I hear this too much, gaslighting.
Yeah.
Woo.
Come on with that.
Woo.
You say woo.
Yes. So gaslighting is certainly a form of manipulation.
Okay.
It is emotional abuse.
Okay.
Yeah, because it makes
how so?
It makes a person feel like they're going crazy, and this is intentional by the one that's gaslighting them.
My
like
Lord.
They will challenge their reality. Like you guys know something just happened, but then the one that's gaslighting makes them feel like, no, that never happened. No, I never said that. No, what are you talking about? You know, and will trivialize their feelings.
Okay.
So it just makes them feel like they're going, like they know they know what their reality is.
Right.
But then, they cause them to make them feel like they're just crazy.
Gotcha.
And then they try to become the victim when they know good and well they're the perpetrator.
Gotcha.
They're the perpetrator, but then they turn it like they're the victim.
If you're from the streets, it's called game. It's called game. You understand?
Yes.
But we'll stick to the program.
All right. So we have to pick this up again.
We have to, yeah.
Because there's so much more that we need to cover. And I appreciate you all chiming in and everything. Yeah. But I just want you to know that we appreciate you all so very much. For more information, you can definitely check out the Facebook page and just tune in to us. Next week, same time, right?
Same time.
We'll be here next week.
Same healthy emo station.
Yeah.
We communicating on the station.
Yes.
That's my slow rap.
If you want more information,
that's my slow rap.
Healthy Emos is available by calling 614-669-5115.
Yes.
All right.
It's been a pleasure today. I'm excited about this wonderful Friday.
Yes.
And it's been a wonderful show. We want to say thanks to all that have tuned in and with your questions. And I'm excited about what next week is going to bring.
Yes. And happy Valentine's Day.
And communicate that
this
weekend that you love each other, that you love somebody.
You love somebody.
Love somebody.
Show it and share it.
Show it and share it. Show it and share it. Let me sit with that for a minute.
Create a wonderful day.
Create a wonderful day.